if
Meaning,
everyone
like,
left
people
New York,
like you. Yes.
we wouldn't have New York. So it's like, what is New York right now? It's us. It's people that are there right now, currently.
And it's a constant move on fear and trading on things that people, what you don't know is going to happen is going to be bad. And so we feed into it when we put up the news stories that, and look, they sell, but you put up these news stories that paint this picture. And it's like heartening for me to hear you say that about your experience in New York. And I want to talk about this more. Like, let's actually dig into this. But yes, there's no doubt New York has a lot of problems right now.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart to see it. You know, I'm from South Jersey. We're both from South Jersey. Grew up around Philly, in Philly all the time. Philly will forever be my home city, right? But, you know, Philly's a town. New York is America, man. Like, living up there my entire career post-college,
Yeah.
I love that place. I love the rush on my skin when I get in there. I love the people. I love when I walk down the street and someone doesn't say fuck you or give you a look, like, I don't feel at home. Like, I love that. I love that energy and hustle. And I keep this right there on the headphone amplifier. That little mini the snow globe without the globe of New York, just to remember it, because obviously right now it's not like we're going up there, but I hate seeing people leave. I hate seeing it fall apart right now, and I hate the bad news I see from there. So it is refreshing to hear that there is some good side.
Yeah.
But if we're going to talk about it, yeah, there are some other realities going on there right now. You've had a lot of downstream effects, not just from COVID, but from the societal uproar around George Floyd and the other things that have happened. And frankly, the lack of empowerment with the police force, who everywhere right now, it's tough being a cop. I get it. And some of it is what it is. But how do we rebuild this? How do we make, assuming we get a vaccine early next year, how do we get it such that people like you and me go back up there? I mean, you're still staying there right now, but and we're like, hey, this is gonna be New York again, baby. That's my dream. I want to do that.
Yeah, you want it to be back to New York again. We talk about this a lot, especially if you're currently living in New York, right? If you're living in one of the boroughs of Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, right? Long Island, maybe. The people that have stayed, the way that we see it, or maybe even I could speak for myself, the way that I see it is right now, New York, even though it's known as the Mecca of the world and really Western culture, civilization, it's really the best kept secret, because people that left, whether I want to say that they abandoned New York or not, they did abandon New York. They abandoned their life in New York because maybe their life is different now. And I get that. And so my life really didn't change that much. And I get to still live in New York, which is nice, right? I can live anywhere I want. I choose to live in New York because I think it's the best kept secret. I think that you might see, of every single terrible thing that you might see in the media or like on social media, there are like 100 things that aren't reported that are beautiful, that are just immaculate, that are happening, that are exciting, that are thrilling, that is happening with the community of New York. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges that people that are still in New York face. A lot of people couldn't leave New York. They don't have the luxury to go back to their home in middle America. So, or like, you know, on the West Coast. So I think that's a different narrative in and of itself. If I were to just, again, paint the perspective of how it is in New York as opposed to how it's being painted if you're outside, it still very much is a beautiful place to be in, mostly because of all of the people that still live there. And I think the best thing that you could do to help propagate New York is to live in New York right now, to support your local businesses.
Right now.
Yeah, right fucking now. Go, like, the rent has never been cheaper. Go live in New York. Go experience what it's like to dine outdoors, where the entire road is completely filled, back-to-back restaurants up and down with beautiful custom sidewalk seating where you can gallivant and just go around and obviously be safe and wear masks, but support local business, be a part of the community, and be here while we continue to build and kind of rebirth like a phoenix from the ashes.
What about the fact that, and I don't have the exact numbers, I do not want to pull them out of my ass, but it's like, it's just for the sake of argument here, it's like roughly half of the restaurants in New York, which New York is a big part of the definition, is the food and the social life experience.
Yeah.
They're closed and they're not coming back.
Yep, they're not coming back.
And that's talent gone too. You know, there's talent that runs those places. And so, yeah, you still have a lot open because it's New York, but it's not the same.
It's not the same, but I would argue it's still New York. It still has those amazing, beautiful pockets of people, of culture, of experience when it comes to like food, culinary experiences. I mean, there are restaurants that are still bangers, right? Like out of all my favorite restaurants, 90% of them are still open and have continued operations during COVID. And it was people like us, people like me, that kept these restaurants afloat by continuing to order takeout every other night, by just like allowing my paychecks to flow into the city of New York, whether it was rent money, whether it was like, food and drink money. And it's like, I really do believe in the city. And this is coming from someone that lived in New Jersey, right? It's every New Jersey's dream to kind of like leave Jersey for some fucking reason. I believe. And because we have all this exciting shit happening around us that isn't Jersey, like Philadelphia, New York, Boston, fucking DC.
I love Jersey.
I love Jersey too. And I can honestly, confidently say that moving to New York, I chose to be in New York during COVID as opposed to living back at home in Jersey, because if it wasn't for us, I don't know if New York would survive it. If
Meaning
everyone
like
left
people
New York,
like you. Yes.
we wouldn't have a New York. So it's like, what is New York right now? It's us. It's people that are there right now currently. So come through, bring a good vibe, bring a good energy if you can, and come help support New York. It's a really best kept secret, but I'm telling you right now, it's no longer a secret. It really is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of good happening.